Okay, so gonna get this out of the way. I did not like Flowers for She-ra. There are parts I enjoyed in this episode, but really it's the one I skip every time I rewatch the show. The opening here I do like. Glimmer is trying to be nice and open to Adora, but there's just these guards like, although their mouths don't move even though they're speaking. Adora looks and acts overwhelmed by the presence of this lavish room.
Is the waterfall for showering?
Then ends up sleeping in Glimmer's room because she doesn't like doing so alone. It's the little bits of characterization like this that adds depth to characters. I mean, we saw the condition she was in before, so this is to be expected here, but I'm glad they took the time to actually show her out of her element here. Also, where did the stairs leading up to Glimmer's bed go? They're completely absent here. I ask this because it makes me question how Adora got up to her bed in the first place. Did she climb up one of the walls, then jump off or something? Adora also meets with Angela here, and we learn of Glimmer's dad being dead by the Horde, and gives Adora a minor threat.
Because I greatly love my daughter, I am willing to give you a chance. Do not disappoint her.
You know, because she still has a protective side for Glimmer, and Adora was a Horde soldier, so she's a bit suspicious of her. But I would like to mention how Adora still never asked Angela about the first ones or She-ra, even though that is one of the reasons why she was willing to come to Bright Moon. Oh, and there's these two side characters, Spinnerella and Natasa.
We're not really sure what they do.
If they're the only other active members of the rebellion, how does Bo not know what they do? Have they not been out there fighting before? So the main focus of this episode is about the kingdom of Plumeria being under siege, and Adora wants to help.
Send me a She-ra. I'll make sure everyone gets there safely and protect Bo and Glimmer if the Horde attacks.
Adora rising to volunteer is important when you remember that Angela's threat was delivered last night, and the fact that seconds ago Adora just sat in her dead husband's chair. Clearly an opportunity she sees to show Angela she will be an asset to the rebellion. Oh, and remember how in Ep 2 I said you needed to look at the Catra versus Adora thing from the characters' perspectives?
What happened to Adora? What did you do?
She left us. She left me. You ever think Adora's not as loyal as you thought?
The steady pain in Catra's voice as she says this, not to mention the line of, "You ever thought Adora isn't as loyal as you thought?" can't have a dual meaning, like Catra is referring to Adora not being loyal to Shadow Weaver, or to Catra and their long friendship, and is hurt by her quote-unquote betrayal. I mean, yeah, put air quotes around that, because we as the audience know better, but Catra does not. Also, why is there this drawing of She-ra on Swiftwind? Adora has been seen in that form by the Horde like twice, and that horse only once. And by my estimate, the last few episodes occurred over the course of like 2 days, or maybe just one. How could news of that horse spread so far, and who would find the materials to make this picture and plaster it on their locker? Wouldn't the militant Horde have a problem with their soldiers painting an enemy in a rather colorful light? So, Adora, Glimmer, and Bo had to deliver relief supplies to the Kingdom of Plumeria from the siege they're under. I mean, air quotes around that, I'll get into that in a second. And the way that people act here towards She-ra is the first telegraph to Adora that people mostly care about what She-ra can do, not Adora. Tossing a lot of weight on her as the hero who's going to save them all, and Bo kind of helps reinforce these expectations.
She-ra defeated a squad of Horde soldiers on a flying horse, or the time she borrowed my toothbrush and used it to defeat an army of Horde soldiers.
But Adora fails to heal the Heart Blossom, the source of this forest and of their princess Perfuma's power, and realizing she cannot live up to the expectations these people have for her.
I am She-ra. I'm just not the same She-ra.
Then you can't save us?
Because fighting is the only string to her bow here, and it doesn't end up being what is needed.
But all I've done is disappoint an entire kingdom.
Glimmer and Bo go out of their way to say that She-ra isn't the reason why they like her, and not to beat herself up over this.
She-ra is not the reason we like you. You're our friend.
I thought I was being supportive, but I was actually being terrible.
So Adora tries to solve the issue, but as herself, going after the Horde encampment to stop them from poisoning the land, and inspiring the people of Plumeria to fight back, and even join the Princess Rebellion. Yet Adora doesn't learn anything from this whole experience, and she goes through most of the series still thinking She-ra is the most important aspect of herself, so really there isn't anything she learned from this episode. Also, Perfuma talks about ancient lore from the previous She-ra, but once more, Adora barely asks about it. Okay, now, the thing about Plumeria is that this place is allegedly under siege.
Kingdom Plumeria is located near the front lines.
And, well, how is this place not already under Horde control yet? It was said to be right next to the border, and this war has been going on since Glimmer was a kid. So for over a decade, Plumeria has remained free because why? These people are not fighters by Perfuma's own admission.
This is my power. I grow plants. Not strong enough to go up against the Horde.
Also, in this brief shot, Adora's arm gauntlet disappears. They don't have the Whispering Woods as a natural barrier, or a standing army like Bright Moon has, so why hasn't the Horde with its tanks, robots, and lasers not bulldozed this place yet? Is this the first time they've tried? And why is this attempt so roundabout? Like the Horde is a camp far away and are trying to poison the Heart Blossom to kill the land? But why? Why poison the land? There are no signs of combat, too. It shouldn't be hard for them to take this place. Hordak even mentions that the siege is going on for too long and is annoyed by that.
The siege on Plumeria has carried on for too long.
Yet no major assault takes place. I mean, if they kill the land, won't that make this fertile place where you could potentially grow a lot of food and cut down trees to feed a society built around this war mostly useless? Then there is how the Horde is beaten. The hippies of Plumeria come in and, yeah, do that. There was a moment like this last episode with Raz, and it was far more realistic of how that situation should have turned out. But now there is this, and it completely brings down the threat that the Horde is supposed to pose and has been built up to be from the past 3 episodes. Where was the Horde that was sacking places like Thamor, a peaceful village with tanks and robots? Also, where the heck was Adora keeping that? We see her back in multiple shots, and yet she just has the sword. Like, we end up going back to Catra and Shadow Weaver so that the latter can connect the dots and get that Adora is She-ra.
That you're still trying to protect her.
It's not. It's just a phase. She's confused.
Catra calling Adora's defection a phase really shows the disconnect she has. Genuinely perplexed as to why Adora would leave the Horde, or more specifically, her, and attempting to justify it any way she can. Still backing Adora against Shadow Weaver, and Catra swears that she will do what she can to bring Adora back. It's a great scene, no doubt, but Adora just pulling the sword out of the magic satchel just to set it up really had me scratching my head. Like, why couldn't they just have Glimmer teleport next to her with the blade in hand? That would have worked completely fine, and I wouldn't have questioned it for a second. Also, Perfuma's introduction and character is fine, and I will say that the juxtaposition of Perfuma being designed to look and act like a hippie pacifist, I mean, her powers is about growing and controlling nature, and her whole spiel is that her people have lived in harmony for nature for thousands of years, yet in combat she is easily seen to be one of the strongest princesses out there. I also liked how, at the end, they replaced Adora's bed with something far more simplistic she'd be comfortable with, and Glimmer and Blow decide to sleep in her room to keep her company. I enjoyed how the writers set that up at the beginning and then paid it off with this wholesome moment at the end. But the rest of the episode is such a drag for me. The positives, I have to say, are mainly moments within. Flowers for She-ra feels like the writers were still trying to find the show's identity. They wanted it to be lighthearted, but also end up tackling some serious issues. And this episode strikes me as them trying to meet things halfway between those two themes. What with the Horde trying to use a chemical weapon to destroy the land, kind of like how the US tried to destroy the jungles of Vietnam with Agent Orange. Yet they don't ever want it to get that serious, as they just show some plants wilting and these weird vine things cropping up everywhere. So anyway, that was episode 4 of Overanalyzing She-ra. If you like this video and you want to see more, then hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button and bell to get notifications about the next episode. I'll try to be updating this series every Thursday, so please share with other fans, and also check out my channel for my video essays and music analysis videos.